Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of What's Up Planets with your host, Marty Palin. That is me. Produced by Jessica Lynch. We've talked about sun signs, moon signs, and how the celestial bodies in our solar system may be influencing your personality and the unfolding of your life events. Today we are going to dig into houses and transits, the last tools you'll need in your astrological tool belt to read a natal chart. If you're not quite sure what that is, check out episode 1 and then meet us back here. Once you have houses and transits in the mix, though, you'll need some experience using all of those elementary tools. So get out there and start practicing. Sharpen them up. Who knows? You might find yourself drawn to something specific in astrology and become an expert. It's like becoming a doctor and knowing the basics, but then you can specialize in brain surgery or x-rays or livers, whatever calls to you. I think astrology is like spiritual medicine. It can be very healing, helping you to understand yourself and have compassion for others. Every culture has their own way of practicing it, so see what calls to you. So let's talk about houses. What are they? Well, there are 12 of them, and they represent the different areas of your life. They go in the same order and have the same symbolism as the 12 signs of the zodiac. So if you know those, the houses are pretty easy to start exploring. Aries is the first house, Taurus is the second house, Gemini is the third house, all the way around to Pisces, which is the 12th house.
We've talked about how your natal chart is like a snapshot of the universe. It shows which zodiac sign each planet was in at the exact moment of your birth. What you may not have known is that it also shows which house each planet was in.
Each planet is in a sign, and it's also in a house.
What?
Each planet represents a certain energy. That energy is flavored by whatever sign the planet is in. And whichever house it's in represents the department of your life the energy will play out in. So a house is like a home for the planet or planets that live there. It's where a planet expresses itself. So you probably want an example because this is confusing. So if two people both have their sun in Leo, but one has their sun in the first house and the other has their sun in the ninth house, the way their sun or ego expresses itself will be totally different. So how do you know which houses your planets are in? If you can, take a look at your chart. Go to whatsuplanets.com/myplanets or just Google natal chart.
For reals though, if you don't have a good picture of what a natal chart looks like, look one up before listening to anything else.
A natal chart is shaped like a wheel, and the spokes of the wheel create 12 interior sections. Those sections are the houses. There is a horizontal line across the middle that splits the chart in half, and the rising sign is on the left of that line. This is because the line represents the horizon. So if you were born at noon, say, your sun is going to be on the top part of your chart. If you were born at night, then the sun is going to be on the bottom part of your chart. And the rising sign is the zodiac sign that was rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment the chart is depicting. And that is the start of your chart, where the first house starts. The interior section just below the rising sign is the first house. Follow the wheel counterclockwise, and you'll pass through all 12 houses until you end up back where the rising is. You can think of this wheel of houses as the unfolding of your personal path, the journey of your own development as a human being. Pretty spiritual. The first 6 houses, the houses in the bottom half of the wheel, are called your personal houses. They focus on you, the self. The 6 houses in the top half of the wheel are called your interpersonal houses. They expand outward to society and beyond. Remember, the houses represent fields or types of experiences. They're not the experiences themselves, they're the containers that the planets express their energy in. The first house has the same symbolism as the first sign, Aries. It's where your life begins. Aries is the ram, explosive energy, moving head first. The first house is self-identity, self-desires, personality. The second house, Taurus, is material possessions, money, valuables, resources.
Okay, Marty. We're talking about houses and the different areas of your life that each one represents. So, what would it mean if someone's sun sign, in other words, their ego or sense of self, was in their second house, which you said had to do with possessions, money, resources?
The sun in second house would be your identity, would be your possessions, and anything materialistic or anything sensual. You really identify as. It's like I always think that the person would be a slight hoarder because they don't want to give away a part of themselves because they feel really connected to those things. Third house, Gemini, is network, neighborhood, school, siblings, short journeys. Fourth house, Cancer, is home, family, mother, roots, sensitivities. Fifth house, Leo, is self-expression, kids, creativity, love, games. Sixth house, Virgo, service to others, health, job, routines. Now we've reached the interpersonal houses, the top half of the chart, and they are oppositions to the first 6 houses. So the 7th house, the 7th sign is Libra, opposes the first house, Aries. Libra is balance, relationships, compromise, marriage. So Aries is all about the self. Libra is about we. The 8th house is Scorpio. It's about letting go, death, transformation, therapy, debts. It opposes Taurus in the 2nd house, whereas Taurus is let's rebuild something and keep it going. Scorpio is about let it go, do something new, burn it down. The 9th house is Sagittarius. It's long distance travel, adventure, religion. It opposes Gemini in the 3rd house. So Gemini is short travel, Sagittarius is long travel. Gemini is your immediate neighborhood, Sagittarius is the whole world. 10th house is Capricorn. Father, fame, career, authority, your destiny. It opposes Cancer in the fourth house. So Capricorn is like the father, and Cancer is the mother. The 11th house is Aquarius. It's giving your gift to the world, friendships, future, humanitarianism. It opposes Leo in the fifth house. And lastly, the 12th house is Pisces. It's spirituality, oneness, escaping reality, disillusion, introspection, addictions. It opposes Virgo in the 6th house. So Pisces is about no boundaries. Virgo is more about controlling and making boundaries. Pisces is about throwing it in the air and letting it go. Virgo is about containing it and holding on. So, how are the houses calculated? We have a primitive understanding of the fields of human experiences that they symbolize, but where do they come from? Well, actually, not everyone uses the same system to calculate where the houses are. I learned Placidus, but a system called whole sign is very common as well, and it's actually the easiest to understand, so that's what we're going to focus on.
Imagine revisiting the moment of your birth. You're looking down at your little baby self, brand new, fresh to the world. You step away, and you look up at the sky all around you. And then you divide it into 12 equal sections. Half above the horizon, and the other half are below, not visible to you.
Those sections of the sky are the houses of your natal chart.
What was in those houses depends on where you were and what the planets were up to at that exact moment. When we talk about the zodiac, we're talking about a real physical thing. It's a term used by astronomers and astrologers alike to describe the narrow belt in space that contains the sun, the moon, and all the familiar constellations visible to us on Earth. It's divided into 12 signs, 30 degrees each, that roughly correspond to the 12 constellations, Aries through Pisces. And from your vantage point at the moment of your birth, one of those 12 signs would be coming up over the eastern horizon.
So let's say that sign was Gemini.
That would make you a Gemini rising. And since your rising sign is always where your houses begin, Gemini would be your first house. It doesn't matter if Gemini was just barely peeking over the horizon line at 1 degree, or if it had almost completely cleared the horizon at 29 degrees. With the whole sign system, the whole sign becomes your first house. The boundaries of your first house would be drawn directly on top of the boundaries of your rising sign. So that 30-degree section of the zodiac belt that is your rising sign, that same 30-degree section is your first house. And the planet or planets that are in that house, if you have any, would express themselves most strongly in the life experiences that the first house represents. Now, if your sun is in Cancer,
Meaning you were born between June 21st and July 22nd.
well, we know right away that your sun sign is located in your second house, because Cancer immediately follows Gemini in the zodiac. And once your rising sign is determined, the houses are assigned in order of the zodiac around the wheel of your chart. So if you're a Gemini rising, Gemini is your first house, Cancer is your second house, Leo is your third house, Virgo is your fourth house, and so on in order around the chart. If you have any planets in Gemini, then they are in your first house. If you have any in Virgo, they're going to be in your fourth house.
Maybe you don't have any Virgo at all and your fourth house is empty.
No Virgo? Okay, so we should note that this isn't the case with all house division systems. Some of them, like Placidus, do not line the houses up perfectly with the signs. One house will likely span across 2 signs. But if you're new to this, just take a deep breath and know that that doesn't matter right now. What matters is understanding that houses exist, and the symbolism of each one lines up with the symbolism of the 12 signs of the zodiac. That doesn't change. House 1 is a field of experiences that shares symbolism with sign 1, Aries. And House 12 is a field of experiences that shares symbolism with sign 12, Pisces. Let's just take another little step back, because there's an important component of this, and it's called the ecliptic. It's the sun's apparent path through the zodiac from our vantage point here on Earth over the course of 1 year. We know that the sun doesn't move, but it appears to be moving through the 12 signs of the zodiac, taking 1 year to move through all of them, starting with Aries and ending with Pisces. Each month, the sun will physically appear to be in or in front of a new sign, and that's where our sun signs come from. Okay, now let's go back to that moment of revisiting your birth. You had stepped outside and looked up at the sky, taking it all in. Let's say it was a clear night and you could see all the celestial bodies around you. That's the snapshot. That's your unique cosmic imprint, the position of the sun, moon, and all the other planets on your natal chart. From that vantage point, at that exact spot, at that exact time, that's you. That doesn't change. What changes, depending on which house system you use, is the way in which you divide the sphere around you into 12 sections. Do they match up perfectly with each sign, each 30-degree slice of the zodiac? Or do they take into account the degree at which your rising sign was coming up over the horizon, and then shift the start of the first house down to that degree? There's much debate among astrologers over which house system is best. Placidus is the most popular in Western society, but many leading astrologers are proponents of the whole sign system, citing its accuracy and its ancient roots. In any case, however those boundaries are drawn, the houses are spheres of human experiences by which the planets they contain most strongly manifest their energies. If you go to our site, whatsuplanets.com/myplanets, you can get your natal chart with the whole sign system, and then if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see how each house system would alter where your houses are. Do some exploration and see if one system makes more sense for you. If it says sun in the first house with one system and sun in the second house with another, just Google both and see if you discover any useful information that helps you to better understand yourself or the people around you, or to look at the unfolding of your life story a little differently.
Okay. Let's analyze that placement of a Cancer sun in the second house, since we use that as an example. Cancer is sensitive and loves being home. Your sun sign is the sense of self, identity, and ego. The second house is a sphere of experiences related to Taurus, the second sign of the zodiac. It's your money, your material possessions. So maybe you're a bit of a homebody that finds your identity with your belongings and has a lot of sentiment towards them.
Okay, let's say your moon is in Leo. With a Gemini rising, that would make your moon in the third house.
Leo is a sign of pride and integrity. The moon is your emotional side and how you feel nurtured. And the third house rules communication, siblings, and close community. Maybe you feel
Moon,
proud
Leo,
of your community or siblings,
third house.
or feel
Moon,
best when you speak
third house.
with integrity.
Leo. Remember that the house is a field of experiences. It's the container for their Leo-flavored moon, their Leo-flavored emotional side, to express itself in.
Let's say someone has a Taurus rising, the sign right before Gemini. So instead of having a Leo moon in the third house, they have a Leo moon in the fourth house. The fourth house is associated with Cancer, home, family, mother, roots, sensitivities. So, a person with a proud Leo flavored moon in the fourth house might love being at home and feel pride in their home. Can also be dramatic, so maybe their relationship with their mother is heavy or dramatic. They might even feel more at peace when things are dramatic. Is this starting to make sense?
Each planet is an energy, flavored by a sign, and the houses are where you will see that energy most likely expressed. It's basically like flashcards, where one deck is all the planets, one deck is all the signs, and one deck is all the houses. So there are a ton of possible combinations, but it's relatively simple to form your own interpretations about the potential impact each combo could have on a person once you understand the basic archetypes.
It doesn't stop there though. Oh my gosh. What? There's more. Transits? What is transits? I hear about transits. I think I know them. No, I don't. What is transits?
But we are going to save transits for part 2 of this episode, so stay tuned. In this episode, we've featured music by Bathing Bells, the You Had Me at Topography soundtrack, produced masterfully by Omar CT to accompany the debut poetry book of Jessica Lackritz, and Anne Sulikowski, aka Building Castles Out of Matchsticks, aka Goddess of Ambient Drone Music. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Go to whatsuplanets.com and click on the notes for episode 6 for links, and thank you for listening.